South Korea may have made a monumental blunder. Renowned globally for its captivating culture, stunning landscapes, cutting-edge technology, and a pop culture phenomenon with fan bases that span the globe. One thing undeniably stands out above all: its capital city. But hold on, what if I told you the city you're picturing isn't actually the capital? And what if I revealed that the true center of power is a struggling city fighting for significance, fueled by nothing but determination? Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, buckle up, because we're uncovering the untold story of how South Korea's daring attempt to reshape its capital turned into one of its most unexpected missteps. This is the rise and fall of a city that stumbled before it could even get off the ground. If someone asked you to name South Korea's capital, most people would instantly say Seoul, and in many ways, they'd be absolutely right. But in other ways, they would be in for a surprising twist. Since 2012, the South Korean government has gradually and quietly relocated many of its ministries from Seoul to a lesser-known city that has essentially become the de facto capital of the region. At first glance, this might seem like an unnecessary gamble. If you've been to Seoul, you'll understand why. But if you haven't, get ready for a deep dive into the reasoning behind this bold move. Without mincing words, it's easy to say Seoul is a city that's as dynamic as it is captivating. From its breathtaking skyline to its rich cultural heritage, this bustling metropolis exemplifies the fusion of innovative urban planning and human ingenuity, resulting in something truly remarkable. Let's start with technology. Seoul's advancements in this field are nothing less than world-class. Home to tech giants like Samsung, Seoul stands at the forefront of smart city innovation, offering amenities that might have you booking a trip before you can even think of hitting the like and subscribe buttons. With near universal high-speed internet, AI-driven public transportation, and advanced waste management systems, it's no surprise that Seoul is paving the way for the future. Factor in transformative initiatives like the Seoul Smart Mobility reform, which boosted public transit usage to an impressive 70%, and the city's commitment to innovation becomes crystal clear. Then there's the iconic Cheonggyecheon Restoration Project, which has helped transform the city into one of the best places to live. This genius transformation turned an overbuilt freeway into a serene streamside park. Yes, a park. But it's not just about fun. It improved air quality, reduced urban heat, and provided residents with a lush green retreat in the heart of the city. And this isn't the only green initiative. With spaces like Gyeonggui Forest Park, Seoul makes sure nature stays within reach, no matter where you are. While Seoul shines in urban planning, it's the city's economic strength that truly takes center stage. A heavyweight in the global market, Seoul is home to corporate titans like Samsung and Hyundai. It ranks among the world's top financial hubs, attracting international talents thanks to its thriving fintech and digital service sectors. It's not just about the economy. Seoul's seamless blend of rich culture and cutting-edge technology creates an almost fairy tale-like experience. Historic palaces and bustling markets perfectly complement the city's futuristic skyscrapers and glowing neon-lit districts. Whether you're wandering the trendy streets of Gangnam or hiking up Namsan Mountain, Seoul's every corner tells a story. Ranked 10th in the 2023 World's Best Cities report, Seoul showcases how innovation, sustainability, and culture can coexist in harmony. Seoul is more than just a city. It's an experience waiting to be had. The question is, why change a capital that's thriving this much? With statistics that many capitals around the world would envy, what led to this decision? The thing about success is that everyone wants a piece of it, and that's what plagued the beautiful capital of Seoul. Relocating South Korea's administrative functions to a new city was no easy choice, but it was driven by the need to tackle several of Seoul's persistent urban and regional issues. The most pressing issue? Overpopulation. Forget the serene, empty streets you might see in movies. Seoul's reality is very different. With a population of around 10 million and a density of 15,533 people per square kilometer, Seoul is far from empty. This dense population has placed significant strain on housing, transportation, and public services. For comparison, Los Angeles, with 3.9 million people, has a density of 3,200, while Toronto, with 2.8 million people, has just 1,100 people per square kilometer. Similarly, cities like Madrid and Berlin have a much lower density, with populations of 6.6 million and 3.7 million respectively. Even densely populated cities like London and Sydney manage to maintain lower population densities thanks to their expansive urban layouts. In contrast, Seoul's intense concentration of people is remarkably distinct. Ultimately, the decision to relocate was designed to ease the pressure on Seoul and distribute the population more evenly. The goal was to spread the success. Population density wasn't the only concern. Seoul's concentration of economic and administrative power led to significant regional imbalances. In response, the government initiated the relocation of key ministries to the new city, aiming to spur economic growth and generate job opportunities beyond the capital. By 2012, 40 ministries had moved, with plans for a full relocation of all administrative functions. This was part of a broader effort to foster development and balance the economy across the country. National security was another major consideration. Given Seoul's close proximity to North Korea, the risk was significant. Relocating essential government functions to a city 121 kilometers south of the capital was viewed as a strategic decision to enhance national defense and reduce potential threats. The new city was designed to be a showcase of smart urban development, integrating green spaces, advanced technology, and efficient public services to improve the quality of life for its residents. So, what exactly is this new city all about? Let's take a closer look. Costing a whopping $11 billion, Sejong City officially came into existence in 2007 and was named after King Sejong the Great, a beloved figure in South Korea's history. It was designed to address South Korea's escalating urban challenges, particularly the overcrowding in Seoul. As mentioned earlier, over half of the country's population was concentrated in the capital, driving real estate prices through the roof and creating traffic congestion that felt nearly impossible to resolve. So the government decided it was time to spread the wealth and power. They wanted to redistribute resources across the country and make sure everyone had a fair shot at economic opportunities, not just those living in Seoul. But getting there wasn't as simple as it sounds. Back in 2003, President Roh Moo-hyun proposed moving the capital out of Seoul entirely. However, this idea faced major political pushback. The Constitutional Court of Korea even ruled in 2004 that it wasn't possible to move the capital. So, the government had to get a little creative. Instead of moving the whole capital, they decided to relocate most of the government ministries to Sejong City, just 125 kilometers, about 80 miles, south of Seoul. Sejong is situated right in the center of South Korea, surrounded by major cities like Cheongju to the east, Gyeongju to the west, and Cheonan to the north. The real advantage, though, is that it's so close to Daejeon, one of the country's biggest cities, just to the south. Why is Sejong's location so important? It all comes down to accessibility. Positioned right in the heart of the country, Sejong offers easy, efficient travel for both government officials and residents. Think of it as the central hub in a well-connected web. Plus, with transportation woven into the city's design, getting around is seamless and hassle-free. The relocation process began in 2012, and by 2013, a significant portion of South Korea's government had settled into the new government complex, Sejong. Since then, Sejong's population has surged, from just over 80,000 in 2000 to approximately 394,000 in 2024. That's impressive growth, surpassing even some of South Korea's older cities. However, while Sejong thrives as a government hub, it still faces challenges, particularly in attracting a more diverse population. We'll dive into that shortly. So, what's Sejong like exactly? The city is pretty impressive, with a sleek infrastructure that incorporates cutting-edge urban planning. Think smart technology, sustainable design, and plenty of green spaces. Kind of like a newer version of Seoul, but with more focus on the environment. The centerpiece of Sejong is undoubtedly the government complex Sejong, an enormous facility covering 629,145 square meters, equivalent to around 88 football fields. It consists of 15 interconnected buildings designed to foster collaboration, with open layouts that eliminate barriers between departments. This setup encourages seamless communication across teams. Equipped with cutting-edge technology, including smart workstations and advanced video conferencing tools, the complex ensures smooth and efficient operations. One feature that stands out the most is the 3.6-kilometer rooftop garden, which holds the Guinness World Record for being the largest garden of its kind. And it's not just visually appealing. Employees can take a break there, relax, and enjoy some fresh air. The complex is also powered by geothermal and solar energy, making it an environmentally friendly operation. To put it in perspective, the government complex Sejong is comparable to other global administrative hubs, like Malaysia's Putrajaya and Australia's Canberra, but with a more futuristic design. The design isn't just about government offices, it's about creating a smart, sustainable city of the future. Sejong has some great cultural and recreational spots, like Sejong Lake Park and the Sejong Culture and Arts Center, which draw both residents and visitors. That said, the city still falls short of Seoul's cultural vibrancy. While Sejong draws inspiration from Seoul's layout, it was designed with sustainability at its core, offering a quieter and greener alternative. Construction of Sejong began in 2008 with the vision of integrating government offices, residential areas, and public spaces into a cohesive urban plan. The city's master plan targets a population of 500,000 by 2030, emphasizing accessibility, eco-friendly living, and abundant public green spaces, essentially aiming to replicate Seoul's success, but with a more sustainable approach. The government complex Sejong was built in stages, with each phase designed to meet the needs of a growing city, while keeping the focus on smart, green construction. Sejong is still evolving, but whether it has truly succeeded as South Korea's administrative capital remains a topic of debate. Given all its features, you might assume Sejong has hit the mark, but opinions are divided. Many still label it a failed city. So, what went wrong? Well, let's dive right into that. While the goal was clear and in many ways achieved, Sejong's impact hasn't quite lived up to expectations, and many now view the initiative as a failure. To begin with, the attempt to reduce overcrowding in Seoul hasn't gone as expected. Despite relocating ministries and government offices to Sejong, Seoul's metro area, home to nearly 25 million people, has continued to grow. This suggests that people still favor the capital for its well-established infrastructure, dynamic culture, and abundant economic opportunities. The assumption that shifting administrative functions alone would make Sejong a more appealing choice simply hasn't worked out. And a big reason for this is people's reluctance to move. See, many civil servants, the very people who were meant to relocate to Sejong, have opted to keep liaison offices in Seoul and have simply continued to live there. The result? Sejong's population is largely made up of people who were already living in nearby regions, not from the overburdened capital. Now, you might say a win is a win, but it's a problem when people who can afford to live in Seoul choose not to make the move, leaving Sejong feeling less appealing than it was intended to be. To make matters worse, even for those willing to relocate, Sejong has struggled to provide the amenities and infrastructure that make a city genuinely livable. From limited shopping options and cultural spaces to a shortage of educational and healthcare facilities, it doesn't quite offer the full package. In fact, many residents still depend on personal cars to get around, as public transportation options remain inadequate, further isolating them from the kind of city life that Seoul offers. Add to that Sejong's urban environment is often described as quiet and uninviting, and you have a big problem. See, critics have pointed out the lack of lively commercial districts, cultural activities, and nightlife. For many, the city feels like little more than a place for government buildings and a handful of cafes, lacking the excitement and variety that make places like Seoul so attractive to younger people and families. Without a vibrant cultural scene, Sejong struggles to compete with its big city rival. Beyond atmosphere, Sejong's physical design doesn't do it any favors either. Its donut-shaped layout, where essential services are scattered across separate rings with limited efficient connections, has left the city feeling fragmented. This design flaw makes it harder for people to feel connected to their community, leading to frustration with the city's flow and making it a tough sell for anyone looking for a more conventional urban experience. Ultimately, Sejong's challenges in attracting and retaining residents, along with its failure to alleviate Seoul's population density, have solidified its reputation as a disappointment. What was envisioned as a modern solution to Seoul's overcrowding has, for many, become a reminder of how challenging it is to create a city that can rival the appeal of a thriving, well-established metropolis like Seoul. So what's your take? Is Sejong destined to be a failure? Or is it simply a new city still finding its stride in a region renowned for success? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to stay in the loop on all things mega projects and urban development, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.